Top 101 Leo Tolstoy quotes. If you want to be happy, be. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. In the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you. The strongest of all warriors are these two, time and patience. We can know only that we know nothing. And that is the highest degree of human wisdom. When you love someone, you love the person as they are, and not as you'd like them to be. Love is the only way to rescue humanity from all ills. We are asleep until we fall in love. Wrong does not cease to be wrong because the majority share in it. If you look for perfection, you'll never be content. The sole meaning of life is to serve humanity. Respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. A man is like a fraction whose numerator is what he is and whose denominator is what he thinks of himself. The larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. Boredom, the desire for desires. Happy people have no history. Music is the shorthand of emotion. What counts in making a happy marriage is not so much how compatible you are, but how you deal with incompatibility. If you're not enjoying your work, you should either change your attitude or change your job. There is only one time that is important, now. It is the most important time because it is the only time that we have any power. He stepped down, trying not to look long at her, as if she were the sun, yet he saw her, like the sun, even without looking. Patience is waiting. Not passively waiting. That is laziness. But to keep going when the going is hard and slow, that is patience. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. It's hard to love a woman and do anything. The most important time is now. All great literature is one of two stories: a man goes on a journey or a stranger comes to town. Read less, study less, but think more. If we admit that human life can be ruled by reason, then all possibility of life is destroyed. The key to success in life is using the good thoughts of wise people. The only purpose of education is freedom, the only method is experience. Vengeance is mine, I will repay. Everything comes in time to him who knows how to wait. There are no conditions to which a person cannot grow accustomed, especially if he sees that everyone around him lives in the same way. An arrogant person considers himself perfect. This is the chief harm of arrogance. It interferes with a person's main task in life, becoming a better person. There is something in the human spirit that will survive and prevail. There is a tiny and brilliant light burning in the heart of man that will not go out no matter how dark the world becomes. A man can live and be healthy without killing animals for food. Therefore, if he eats meat, he participates in taking animal life merely for the sake of his appetite. As long as there are slaughterhouses, there will always be battlefields. Let us forgive each other, only then will we live in peace. Many people have ideas on how others should change. Few people have ideas on how they should change. It is not enough to be a hard-working person. Think, what do you work at? The legislation of Quran will spread all over the world because it agrees with the mind, logic, and wisdom. It is amazing how complete is the delusion that beauty is goodness. Truth, like gold, is to be obtained not by its growth, but by washing away from it all that is not gold. Just as one candle lights another and can light thousands of other candles, so one heart illuminates another heart and can illuminate thousands of other hearts. Life is fragile and absurd. Every lie is a poison. There are no harmless lies. Only the truth is safe. Only the truth gives me consolation, it is the one unbreakable diamond. In the midst of winter, I find within me the invisible summer. Only people who are capable of loving strongly can also suffer great sorrow, but this same necessity of loving serves to counteract their grief and heals them. Each person's task in life is to become an increasingly better person. Upon meeting, you're judged by your clothes, upon parting you're judged by your wits. Perfection is impossible without humility. Why should I strive for perfection if I am already good enough? For man to be able to live, he must either not see the infinite, or have such an explanation of the meaning of life as will connect the finite with the infinite. Knowledge is real knowledge only when it is acquired by the efforts of your intellect, not by memory. To abolish war, it is necessary to abolish patriotism. And to abolish patriotism, it is necessary first to understand that it is an evil. Tell people that patriotism is bad and most will reply, yes, bad patriotism is bad, but mine is good patriotism. All happy families resemble one another, each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Man discovers truth by reason only, not by faith. When the suffering of another creature causes you to feel pain, do not submit to the initial desire to flee from the suffering one, but on the contrary, come closer, as close as you can to her who suffers, and try to help her. The hero of my tale, whom I love with all the power of my soul, whom I have tried to portray in all his beauty, who has been, is, and will be beautiful, is truth. Love is God, and to die means that I, a particle of love, shall return to the general and eternal source. True life is lived when tiny changes occur. The most important knowledge is that which guides the way you lead your life. Happiness is an allegory, unhappiness a story. Our whole life is taken up with anxiety for personal security, with preparations for living, so that we really never live at all. But the law of loving others could not be discovered by reason, because it is unreasonable. Art lifts man from his personal life into the universal life. Music is the shorthand of emotion. Emotions, which let themselves be described in words with such difficulty, are directly conveyed to man in music, and in that is its power and significance. Life could be limitless joy, if we would only take it for what it is, in the way it is given to us. Happiness consists of living each day as if it were the first day of your honeymoon and the last day of your vacation. In all history there is no war which was not hatched by the governments alone, independent of the interests of the people, to whom war is always pernicious even when successful. It is easier to produce 10 volumes of philosophical writings than to put one principle into practice. Since corrupt people unite amongst themselves to constitute a force, then honest people must do the same. Faith is the force of life. God is the same everywhere. Effort is not a means to lead us to happiness. Effort itself is happiness. It seldom happens that a man changes his life through his habitual reasoning. No matter how fully he may sense the new plans and aims revealed to him by reason, he continues to plod along in old paths until his life becomes frustrating and unbearable. He finally makes the change only when his usual life can no longer be tolerated. The sole meaning of life is to serve humanity by contributing to the establishment of the kingdom of God, which can only be done by the recognition and profession of the truth by every man. If you make it a habit not to blame others, you will feel the growth of the ability to love in your soul, and you will see the growth of goodness in your life. History would be an excellent thing if only it were true. The kinder and more thoughtful a person is, the more kindness they can find in other people. Art is not a pleasure, a solace, or an amusement. Art is a great matter. Art is an organ of human life, transmitting man's reasonable perception into feeling. The most mentally deranged people are certainly those who see in others indications of insanity they do not notice in themselves. One of the first conditions of happiness is that the link between man and nature shall not be broken. What is important is not the length of life, but the depth of life. What is important is not to make life longer, but to take your soul out of time, as every sublime act does. There is only one way to put an end to evil, and that is to do good for evil. To say that you can love one person all your life is just like saying that one candle will continue burning as long as you live. Act as if you are, and you will become such. God cannot be understood by logical reasoning, but only by submission. Government is an association of men who do violence to the rest of us. I sit on a man's back, choking him and making him carry me, and yet assure myself and others that I am very sorry for him and wish to ease his lot by all possible means, except by getting off his back. Am I mad to see what others do not see, or are they mad who are responsible for all that I am seeing? The goal of our life should not be to find joy in marriage, but to bring more love and truth into the world. He felt now that he was not simply close to her, but that he did not know where he ended and she began. My principal sin is doubt. I doubt everything, and am in doubt most of the time. The only absolute knowledge attainable by man is that life is meaningless. But I'm glad you'll see me as I am. Above all, I wouldn't want people to think that I want to prove anything. I don't want to prove anything, I just want to live, to cause no evil to anyone but myself. I have that right, haven't I? Spring is the time of plans and projects. Here I am alive, and it's not my fault, so I have to try and get by as best I can without hurting anybody until death takes over. Nietzsche was stupid and abnormal. I have now understood that though it seems to men that they live by care for themselves, in truth it is love alone by which they live. He who has love is in God, and God is in him, for God is love. If everyone fought for their own convictions, there would be no war. It's not given to people to judge what's right or wrong. People have eternally been mistaken and will be mistaken, and in nothing more than in what they consider right and wrong.